Hey guys, so before you guys continue watching these videos, please click the link in the description to the Samulnori audition instructions document and read that whole page through. In there are instructions about how to be guaranteed a successful audition for us this year. Alright.
Hi, I'm Jazz and I'm one of the choreos for Samulnori this year, and I'll be teaching you how to play the Buk. So the Buk is this barrel-like drum which has two sides, but we only play on one side. And the side we play on is where the roping is a little bit more crisscross and diagonal. So the way that we set up the Buk is that we stick out our foot and we want to place the Buk where this arch is, where you have a divot in your foot. So on my shoe, it's a lot more obvious to see, but when we play an actual Buk, we're not wearing shoes. You're usually wearing thick socks or you're just playing it on your foot. And when that happens, you just want to put it on the arch or wherever's comfortable for you. And if it starts to hurt, then you might want to shift it around and put it on your heel. You just find whichever spot's most comfortable for you and whatever works for you. But you put the Buk up on there, and the way you hold the Buk on the top, there are many different ways you hold onto it. Some people like holding onto the handle, some people like holding onto only one side, some people hold onto the center by grasping both of them. I personally like doing that just to keep it steady, and that's what I do to hold on to my Buk while I play it. So this is a Buk stick. Buk stick should always be 90 degrees to your arm. Your arm and your Buk stick will be making a 90-degree angle, and it'll always be upright. You don't want it too far forward or too far back because it makes it harder to play, and you end up playing on different parts of the drum that might not be as consistent. So you want to play 90 degrees, and you want to play right in the center of the drum. When you play in the center of the drum, you also want to make sure when you hit the drum, you want to make a good round motion with your arm. Now visually, this looks really nice because when you have that dynamic movement, it looks good in a Buk player. But it also allows you to play a lot more powerfully without using as much energy than if you just try hitting really hard from here. You're able to build up a momentum and hit the Buk really hard. Additionally, there are different parts of the sheet music where you might need to make like a duck sound. In order to do that, you hit the top of the drum right here. There's a lip where the roping is attached. You want to be careful not to hit that point because it'll make a ta-ta sound and it doesn't sound as nice. So you want to make sure that you hit just right there. So it just makes a nice clean duck sound. So now we're going to talk about how to read Buk sheet music. So for a Buk, there are 3 different hits that you can do. So that's going to be indicated by 3 different symbols on the sheet music. There's going to be a black square, a white square, and then a diamond or square on the side with a dot in the center. So the black square is just going to be a nice normal hit. So you just hit the drum normally, you want to hit it nice and hard, and you want to be nice and loud with it. Or depending on the dynamic of it, you just want to make sure you match it. It's just your normal hit. The white square, on the other hand, is just a quieter version of that. So you're hitting the drum normally, but you want to be a lot softer with it. So if I'm playing about like this far, this loud for a black one, then for a white square, you only want to come about halfway or even less to play quieter. It's just really important that you make a distinction between the two, that it's not so much a matter of being visually different, you want to also make sure that they sound different. For the square that's on its side or the diamond shaped one, that's going to be played right up here to make a nice duck sound. You want to make sure that you don't hit the lip here, kind of like what I said in the Buk tutorial video. You want to make sure that you only hit the edge to make a nice clean sound. And so those are those 3 different symbols and what they mean, and that's how you play Buk. It's very easy to read, very easy to play. In terms of when you're reading the sheet music, you might see that there's going to be thick lines and thin lines. If you go to the counting exercise, you will see the differences between the two and how to count those beats. But virtually what it means is that between every single thick line, there's going to be 3 or 2 beats, and that's how many beats are within that small measure, let's call them. And so a lot of times, and oftentimes in Samulnori music, it's going to shift a lot between 3 beats to 2 beats, which is what the counting exercise is for you to practice that. As well as the fact that at the very end, there's going to be a series of 3 beats and 2 beats, and then it's going to stop. That is one line. And so for different pieces, you might be playing 1 or 2 lines, and you might be playing 1 line 2 times, which would be indicated by the ×2 at the end, or you might be just playing 1 line straight through, which is when there's nothing at the end, it's just a line. Yeah, and so that's how you read Buk sheet music, and yeah, good luck practicing. So now we'll be talking about the different pieces we'll be playing, as well as how to play them from home, how to be making a makeshift instrument, as well as what we'd be looking for in a Buk player. So I guess we'll start off with what we're looking for in a Buk player. So for Buk player this year, we want to make sure that you're able to hold on to the tempo, hold on to the rhythm, and just to see if you have a general understanding of the music. If you need to count out loud for right now, that's totally okay if that helps you keep rhythm. We just want to make sure that you're able to hold on to the rhythm and hold on to the tempo and not rush too much or not drag too much either. We also want to make sure that you seem to be comfortable with the piece, that you don't seem to be too stressed. So when you're playing this, please make sure that you're having fun and just make sure that you're relaxed. I'm not trying to force you to have fun, but it will make it easier for us to tell that if you are comfortable with the music, how comfortable you look with it while still being able to play well. But yes, that's what we'll be looking for. I recognize that a lot of you do not have access to a drum or anything that will sound like a drum or anything similar to a drum, and that's totally okay. It is very difficult to get a hold of those kind of things, especially at a time like now. So don't worry so much about the way it sounds. That's why there's a lot more emphasis this year about you being able to play in time and within your tempo and within your rhythm. Yeah, so let's look at the first piece. So the first piece, we're going to be playing on my makeshift drum, and what my makeshift drum is a binder. So if you're at home and you, again, don't have access to anything that might be similar, you can play on a binder, a folder, a textbook, a notebook. You can play on your hands if you need to, a box, a pillow, whatever you're comfortable with. If you're playing on your hands, just make sure that no matter which way you hit, if you just hit with just your palm, or if you hit with your entire hand, that when you hit the dots or the notes where there are the squares on the side, that you make a clear distinction that you are going up. So I know for myself that if you were to play an actual Buk, you know that that is a different side of the music. And I know that it's going to be a lot harder to indicate between the difference between black squares and white squares, but try the best you can with it. Again, we're just really looking for rhythm, dynamics, and stuff we can focus on a lot later. Yeah, if you're playing on a notebook or anything similar, or a box or pillow, just make sure that you are holding it in such a way where it'll be upright. So if you were actually playing on a Buk, you know that you are hitting it upright, and that you are also holding it in a way where it won't be shifting back and forth a lot. You want to make sure it's nice and secure, so it's a lot easier for me to see that it is being nice and clearly hit and not just shaking around and making it very unstable for you to play as well. So let's look at the first piece, and I'll be practicing the first piece with you guys at a slower tempo. And when you play and when you submit your audition tape, you can play any tempo you like, any pace that you like, and if you want to do it any number of times that you like. If in the middle of one of the pieces you're like, oh sorry, I'm going to try that again, that's totally okay. Just make sure that you are comfortable with the music and you're just showing us the best version of what you can possibly play and how comfortable you are with the music. So for the first piece, I'm gonna count it 2-3 beats first, and then I'm gonna play the whole thing through. This is one line played twice, so once we get to the very end, we just go to the beginning of the line again. So 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. All right, so something like that would sound good. Let's go straight into the second piece just so you guys could hear what it might sound like. Again, I'll be giving you 2 measures of the 2 beats. So 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3. So if you notice, I ran out of breath like a little bit before. Since I'm counting out loud, it is going to be harder for me to keep like speaking if I'm speaking out loud and I'm also playing. So if you're doing the same thing and you find it hard to breathe, just try to keep with the tempo the best that you can without losing your spot and taking like a huge gap to take a breath. All right, so for piece number 3, I'll be playing each line only twice instead of the 4 times that would be needed for the audition tape. 4 times is actually not that bad once you play through, and for something like this you can probably play faster if you're comfortable with, so it goes by pretty quickly too. But yeah, all right. I'll be giving you 2 measures of 3 beats. 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2. All right, so for piece number 4, it says to play twice, so you can play it very similarly to the way that piece 1 was played, so one after the other, or you can play it separately, whichever way you're most comfortable with. And this goes back and forth between 2 beats and 3 beats, so the measure that I start you off with will be just straight into it. It'll be 2 beat, 3 beat, and then I'll start. All right. 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2. All right, thank you, and good luck with the auditions. Hi, so this is for the verbal counting section. You can do this section any tempo you like, any number of times that you like. You can also clap on every single beat or just the first beats. The beats are labeled number 1. Whatever you're most comfortable with and whichever helps you keep the tempo and the rhythm the best. So the importance of this section is to make sure that you can hold on to a rhythm, especially when it's changing back and forth between 3 beats and 2 beats. I'll be demonstrating both ways to do it, clapping on every single beat as well as clapping on just the first beat. And you can pause the video anytime you like or replay anytime you like to see how I do it. And you can do it any way that you like after that. All right, I'll be getting started. 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3. I'll be now just clapping on only the beats that are labeled number 1, so the first beats. 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3. All right, good luck.